Okay,
Walter.
hey, I'm an idiot.
Record.
Yeah, I just hit record. So do you guys mind? We'll start
Let's
over.
start it again.
That was a great first take, Marco and Whitney. Awesome. Do that again. Okay, sorry. Okay. Fade in. Interior, exterior, Doc Marotti's car. Night. Doc Marotti speeds down the road to Charleston. Walter tucked under blankets in the back seat, struggling to breathe. Exterior, Kelly house. Same. On the porch, the three detectives faced Charlie, her right hand behind her back in the open doorway.
Ma'am, we're here on behalf of the Stone Mountain Coal Company.
So I guessed.
Can we come in?
He steps toward her. She doesn't move.
We usually don't let people in this late.
It's about your father.
She holds her ground.
Walter Kelly?
Charlie looks at them hard, then steps aside. The men enter. She starts to shut the door, thinks better of it, and leaves it open. Purcell turns to her on the opposite side of the door frame. Hennings and Ted begin to look around the house. Charlie lets the pistol fall to her side.
Get to it then.
Purcell eyes the gun, then looks her in the eyes.
Our doc has done all he can. Your father needs the hospital in Charleston.
I know that.
His legs have to come off.
Hearing it again hits Charlie hard.
Why are you telling me what I already know?
Doc Marotti has him ready to go. Can put him in his car right now. The company's ready to send him to.
He waits.
But
he reaches for the door. Charlie swings her pistol in front of her.
I wouldn't.
He stops and smiles.
You see, darling, doctors aren't cheap. It's not the company's big grudges, it's meant proper medical attention. But certain payments are required up front before they can move forward.
Hennings and Ted join him at the door.
I'm sure you know how things work around here.
Charlie cocks her pistol. Hennings and Ted move their hands over their weapons.
I know you can do math. No way you can get all three of us before we get you.
Probably not. But I can take at least one of you. And you're first.
Hennings eyes her from head to toe. We can make you like it. Charlie ignores him and glares at Purcell. She raises her pistol.
I'm pretty good with this, so I have a decent chance of getting another one of you too.
She eyes Hennings and Ted.
I suppose whoever lives can fuck my dead body.
Off screen, the heavy thud of footsteps moves slowly up the steps. Hennings and Ted move their hands away from their guns. The three step back. Cameron appears in the doorway.
I assume you're giving Miss Kelly the unfortunate news.
Yes, sir.
He enters the room and jerks his head back toward the doorway. The detectives exit hastily. Charlie watches them leave and eyes Cameron. He nods at her pistol.
You can put that away.
Charlie, somewhat bemused, uncocks her gun and lays it on a table by the window.
I never thought I'd have to thank you, but thank you.
Cameron slowly closes the door.
I'm not here to save you from them, Charlotte. I'm just saving you from myself.
Exterior, roadhouse, same. Fred stands on Bill's barrel. He takes in the silent crowd before him. Max stands below him. Bill, Sid, Big Ben, Joe, Stefano, and Frankie stand together in the front of the group.
Fellow workmen, the United Mine Workers of America requires perfect freedom of inclination in every candidate for membership to its body. With this understanding, are you willing to take an obligation which binds you upon your honor as a man to keep the same as long as life remains?
Big Ben steps forward and takes off his hat.
I am.
All the men chime in with, I am. Fred looks down at Bill. Bill smiles back at him. Interior, Kelly house. Later, Cameron slowly takes off his jacket as he saunters into the living room. Standing by the table on which her pistol rests, Charlie watches him.
Shooting me would be a bad move for you and your father. There's no need for it. We're going to take care of everything.
He carefully folds his jacket, hangs it over the back of a chair, and takes a seat. He nods toward another chair close to him.
Let's discuss terms.
Reluctantly, she joins him. He unbuttons his vest as he speaks.
Doc Marody says your father's legs have been removed need to be removed immediately or he won't live long. Gangrene is spreading quickly. I've spoken to the hospital in Charleston. They're waiting for him.
He removes his vest and lays it across his jacket.
As soon as I leave here, I'll tell Doc Marody to get your father there.
He begins to loosen his tie. Charlie looks to the floor.
Do you need a drink? Do you have anything here?
She shakes her head no.
I can have the men get something from my office. I should have thought to...
I'm fine.
All I have to do is signal. They'll do whatever I want.
She shakes her head no.
Suit yourself.
He pulls his tie from around his neck and places it with the coat and vest.
We'll pay for everything your father needs. We'll also waive the rent for the house.
And in return?
You continue working in the store. We'll pay you, of course. That's only fair.
He leans forward and runs a hand across her knee.
And you'll provide other services to me. Whenever, wherever, and however I choose.
And if I say no?
You're smarter than that, Charlotte.
If I say no.
He leans back in his chair.
First, I let the detectives back in here. They're just outside the door. They'll be on you before you get that pistol out.
Charlie's shoulders slump.
Then I'll throw you and your father out on the street. After I call the hospital in Charleston, I'll tell them not to admit him, of course. I doubt he would live through the night.
He begins to unbutton his shirt. Charlie stares at him.
You see, this isn't a negotiation.
Cameron looks at her expectantly. She slowly pulls the bow on her dress loose. Cameron touches her hand.
Let me help you.
Exterior, roadhouse continuous. Fred continues the oath.
Raise your right hand.
The men comply.
I do sincerely promise of my own free will to abide by the laws of the Union, to bear true allegiance to and keep inviolate the principles of the United Mine Workers of America, never to discriminate against a fellow worker on account of creed or color or nationality, to defend on all occasions and to the extent of my ability the members of our organization, that I will not reveal to any employer or boss the name of anyone a member of our union.
Interior, exterior, Doc Marotti's car, same. Doc Marotti grips the steering wheel as the car flies down the curvy road. Walter coughs and sputters. Doc Marotti tries unsuccessfully to check him in the car's tiny inside rearview mirror. He quickly looks over the seat.
Walter, you awake? What's wrong?
Exterior, roadhouse continuous. The union ceremony continues.
And I further promise to help and assist all brothers in adversity and to have all mine workers join our union, that we may be able to enjoy the fruits of our labor, that I will never knowingly wrong a brother or see him wronged if I can prevent it.
Interior, exterior, Doc Marotti's car, continuous. Walter cries out in pain. His breaths come in short, shallow bursts. Doc Marotti quickly steers the car to the side of the road, grabs his medical bag from the front seat and hops in the back. Walter thrashes weakly in obvious pain. Doc Marotti checks his pulse.
Damn it, Walter. Don't do this to me.
Walter's breathing stops. He goes limp. Doc Marotti makes weak attempts at mouth-to-mouth resuscitation and chest compression to no avail. He gives up and falls back against the car door.
God damn it.
Exterior, roadhouse, continuous. The men repeat the pledge in unison.
To all of this, I pledge my honor to observe and keep as long as life remains or until I am absolved by the United Mine Workers of America.
I promise.
You are now members of local union number 17 and are entitled to all rights and privileges of the United Mine Workers of America.
Bill steps up.
We're all officially union men.
Yeah, the crowd cheers. Woo! Interior, Kelly house. Later. In the bedroom, Cameron buttons his shirt as he stands beside the bed. Charlie lies under the covers, naked, facing away from him. He pulls a money clip from his pocket, peels off a few bills of scrip, and tosses them on the bed beside her.
For those new shoes we talked about.
I don't want your money.
Regardless, I pay for a job well done. You earned it.
He exits. Charlie stares at the empty holster on her bookshelf, her copy of the Bad Child's Book of Beasts, and the Count of Monte Cristo beside it. Exterior, roadhouse, same. Fred and Mac shake hands and speak with a group of union miners. Bill stands to the side, taking it all in. Sid joins him and slaps his back.
Hit it.
Well, it's just beginning. I mean, now we brace for Hamilton's retaliation. He'll know before class of business tomorrow.
We'll be ready.
Better be.
Bill watches Jack shake hands with Fred. Jack catches Bill's gaze and nods. Exterior, Doc Marotti's office. Later. Doc Marotti pulls to a stop outside his office. He checks the empty street in all directions. After opening the front door to the office, he opens the back door to the car, takes Walter's body under the shoulders, and begins to pull him out. Car headlights illuminate the street. Doc Marotti quickly shoves Walter's body back into his car. The car stops behind Doc Marotti's. Marov lets Cameron out. Cameron notes Walter's body in the back seat. Doc Marotti shakes his head no. Cameron nods to Marov, then heads in the office. Marov helps Doc lug Walter inside. Interior, Doc Marotti's office. Later. Walter's body, a white sheet covering him from the chest down, lays on the examination table.
I pulled over when I heard him struggling to catch his breath. But by the time I started compressions, he was already gone.
Cameron inspects Walter's body.
It could have been any number of things that caused his death. An autopsy will show me.
Cameron holds up his hand, his back still turned.
That won't be necessary.
You don't want to know what caused the death?
Cameron pulls the sheet over Walter's face.
Poor fella. Died of a heart attack.
Could have been. But he most likely sustained internal injuries from the collapse, which could have.
Cameron turns to face him. Doc freezes.
It was a heart attack.
Doc Marotti slowly nods in agreement.
Of course. I'll write up the report in the morning.
Cameron motions to Marov, then leans into Doc.
Keep this between us.
Yes, sir.
Cameron exits. Doc Marotti wearily leans against the table and stares down at the covered body. Exterior, Kelly house, night. Just before dawn, Jack steps onto Charlie's porch, Dingbat by his side. He goes to knock on the door and notices it's slightly ajar. He pushes the door open slowly and enters. Interior, Kelly house, continuous. Jack closes the door behind him and searches for Charlie.
Charlie?
Charlie steps out of her bedroom, still in bedclothes. Dingbat runs to her. She bends down and pets him.
Good morning.
Charlie doesn't look up.
Morning.
She heads toward the kitchen.
You hungry, buddy?
Oh, I fed him leftovers before I came over here.
Kitchen. Charlie puts a bowl of water on the floor. She finally looks at Jack.
Thanks.
She exits. Jack, confused, slowly follows her. Bedroom. Jack heads in the door but stops short and looks away.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Charlie, in her undergarments, changes into work clothes.
Nothing you hadn't seen before.
Jack smiles slightly.
Yes, that's true.
His smile fades.
Any news?
Charlie shakes her head no.
I'm sure you'll hear something soon.
Charlie pulls on her boots.
I'm going to Doc Marotti's office now. I need an update.
She passes him on the way out. Living room. She grabs her bag and heads for the front door. Jack follows behind her.
I'll walk with you.
Frozen?
She's frozen.
Or she's really good at standing still.
Yeah, no, exactly.
It's okay. I need to be alone for a while. Just like Whitney. Like that was just like spot on Whitney. Please don't show her the recording mark, by the way.
Yeah, yes, it is recording. That'll probably be online somewhere tomorrow, Marco.
What? What happened?
Nothing,
He was doing
Whitney.
his Whitney
You're
impression.
a very talented
I swear I'm gonna kill someone.
Okay, well, let's pick up. Let's go back to where they go in the living room. Everybody ready?
Ready.
Okay, living room. She grabs her bag and heads for the front door. Jack follows behind her.
I can walk with you.
It's okay. I need to be alone for a while.
Charlie.
I'm fine. Really.
Okay, I'm here if you need me.
I don't. I've got to go.
Charlie exits quickly. Jack watches her leave. Interior, Stone Mountain Coal Company office, same. Cameron, lightly tapping his fingers on his desk, sits across from Lively.
Do you know how these union men got into town in the first place?
No, sir, I don't.
You didn't get their names?
I couldn't. Crowd was too big.
Where are they hiding out?
I don't know.
Do you know the number of men at the meeting?
I couldn't get a head count. Sorry, the crowd was large. Had to be every miner in Mingo.
All the men took the oath.
Lively nods.
Do I have anyone working in the mines at all today?
A little early to tell. I believe most are still working. There are rumors a few aren't working because of Walter.
Cameron stops tapping his fingers.
I'll get the names of the men not in the mines today from others. But tell me if you see any hanging around town.
Lively nods and stands.
Was Jack there?
He even took the oath.
Exterior, Doc Mirage's office, later. Charlie bangs on the front door.
Doc! Open up, it's Charlie!
She pauses and listens. Silence. She tries the doorknob. Locked. She finally notices the closed sign in the window. She kicks the door repeatedly.
God damn it.
Interior, Makewan Missionary Baptist Church, same. Bill walks slowly down the aisle toward the front of the chapel. Reverend John Wilburn, 50s, stands at the pulpit, writing on a notepad. As Bill approaches, he stops and takes off his glasses.
Oh, this is a surprise.
Reverend, you got a minute?
Of course. Have a seat.
He guides Bill to the front row.
I'm terribly sorry to hear about Walter. He is in my prayers.
That's why I stopped by. Everyone in town's eating up over the accident. Can we do a service tonight?
Absolutely. I can pull it together quickly enough.
I'll spread the word. Thank you, John.
Wilbur nods. Wilbur nods. They sit in silence for a moment.
Hamilton and the company haven't made a statement regarding Walter, have they?
No, not one word.
Wilburn shakes his head in disbelief.
Lord forgive me. Those dirty bastards are pure evil. Things need to change in this town, Bill, and it needs to happen fast.
Interior, Stone Mountain Coal Company office, same. Cameron sits at his desk holding a poster. Jenny stands before him with her hands clasped in front of her.
This will do. I need at least 20 more.
He hands her the poster.
Yes, sir.
That'll be all.
Yes, sir.
Jenny passes Jack as she exits. He hovers in the doorframe.
Have a seat.
I'm actually running late for work, so I'm gonna.
You do realize you're not actually a coal miner, right?
Jack stands in silence. Cameron looks at him and then to the empty chair in front of him. Jack takes a seat.
What's been going down in the mines?
Not much to report.
Not much to report. My entire workforce is now union. And you know nothing about it?
Jack stays silent.
Here's what's going to happen. You're going to go back to work and note every single miner not working today. You'll get me that list along with the list of every man that was there last night. I believe that will be easy to get, considering you attended the meeting and took the oath yourself.
Jack nods.
Report back to me with the list at dawn tomorrow.
He leans forward.
Don't be late, and do not show up without the list. Do you understand me?
Jack slowly nods.
Yes, sir.
He heads for the door.
And Bryce, don't forget about our soiree at the house tomorrow night. I'll pick you up.
Jack exits. Interior, company store later. Charlie lifts the receiver of the wall phone.
I need the hospital in Charleston.
She waits, finally.
St. Francis Hospital.
Hello, my name is Charlie Kelly. I'm calling to get an update on my father, Walter Kelly. He admitted last night from a mining accident.
Mining accident?
Yes, a wall collapsed on his legs.
Off-screen paper shuffle.
Let me check with my supervisor. I'll be right back.
Exterior, Matewan, same. Sid and Bill meander down Main Street.
I know at least 50 men not working today, myself included.
Just at a mine one?
Just one.
I'll need numbers from the other shafts.
As they near the jail, they notice Jesse waiting by the door. Exterior, Matewan jail, continuous. Bill smiles at Jesse, then Sid.
Hello, Mrs. Testerman.
Mr. Blizzard.
He eyes them both.
See you inside.
Bill enters. Sid glances around and quickly kisses her.
And make sure the coast is clear.
Sid checks again.
All clear.
He pulls her in again. Jesse giggles against his lips. She finally pulls back.
Can we talk?
Talk? What for?
He smiles and leans in again. Jesse moves away from him.
Is everything okay?
Yeah, I just need to talk to you.
I'm about to walk into a meeting. Find you later?
Jesse nods. Sid walks away. He spins on his heels and heads back to her.
One more safety check.
He looks around again.
Clear?
He pulls her into another long kiss.
Go, you're late.
Sid smiles and heads into the jail. Interior, company store, same. Charlie, phone still to her ear, bites her nails.
Miss Kelly.
Yes, I'm here.
My supervisor says for all the Stone Mountain Coal Company injuries, I'm only allowed to give information to Mr. Cameron Hamilton.
But I'm family. Remember, I'm his daughter, Charlie Kelly, his only family.
Oh, I know. I'm sorry, sweetie. I'm under orders. I suggest having Mr. Hamilton contact us.
Charlie slams the receiver into the switch hook. Interior, Matewan Missionary Baptist Church, later. The Home Demonstration Club members count supplies on the table, including blankets, canned food, and tents. Ray goes down the table with a clipboard, making notes.
Elma, how many tents do we have?
10.
Oh, we're going to need a lot more.
Betsy looks up from counting blankets.
Joe and I have a tent somewhere in the house. We used to go camping on anniversaries for the children. I'll bring it down to the campsite. We might have some extra blankets too.
That's okay, Beth. Your family can use that tent. I believe we have several at our house I can bring.
Betsy nods and returns to county. Ma leans in behind Ray.
Good call.
Okay, ladies, a strike is on the horizon. We need to be prepared for anything. Everyone knows their supply list. Most important items are tents, food, and blankets. We need to get the camp set up by tonight. Let's get it done.
Ma salutes her. Ray notices Jessie sitting down and moving slowly. She places a hand on her shoulder.
Are you okay, Jess?
Jess. Are you okay, Jess?
Just a bit tired.
Let me know if you're not feeling well. I can take over for you.
I'll be okay, promise.
Ray looks at her for a moment, then turns her attention back to the clipboard. Interior, Matewan Jail, same. Bill, Fred, Mac, and Testerman orbit around Sid's desk, planning intently. Sid leans back in his chair.
We know who we're dealing with here.
Hamilton's a cocksucker. He won't hold back.
If the strike plays out as we think it will, things will get ugly.
You've already seen Baldwin Felts?
Sid nods and gets up.
Had to run 3 of them out of town.
They'll send an army. Those bastards. Winchester's locked and loaded.
Like Cabin Creek?
Worse, much worse.
Sid rips a map of Matewan from the wall and slams it onto the desk.
Let's get to it then.
He traces a road on the map.
When you two trucked into town, you took the northeast road. We have 3 main points of entry into Matewan. Northeast. We have to know who and what enters town.
I got men that can handle that. Run them in shifts.
Do we have enough guns?
Sid throws a bag on the desk and opens it to reveal a stack of handguns and ammunition.
I got it covered.
Of course you do. I'm sure most men have their own stash too. Bill, make sure everybody knows to be ready for war.
Trust me, they will be.
Interior, company store, same. On her knees, Charlie restocks the shelves with canned food. Off screen, the bell rings and footsteps approach. Charlie keeps working without looking up. Off screen, the feet stop directly behind her. A moment passes, then.
Any updates?
Charlie looks up and shakes her head no. Ray sighs and sits beside her.
Oh, you shouldn't be here.
Where else would I be?
Home, keeping your mind off things.
Charlie keeps restocking.
It's better if I'm busy.
Charlie places a Vienna sausage can on the shelf and stops.
Besides, can't escape my own mind.
She sinks down next to Ray.
Minister Wilburn is holding a service at the church tonight.
For what?
For Walter.
What do you mean, for Walter?
We thought we could all get together and pray for him.
He's not dead.
I know. We just want to do all we can.
Well, then how about you get him a new pair of legs? How about that?
If I could, I would.
Ray stands and puts her hand on Charlie's shoulder.
We're here for you, Charlie.
Charlie returns to restocking.
Service is at 7.
Off screen, the bell rings as Ray leaves. Charlie works faster, shoving cans onto the shelf. She knocks the Vienna sausage can off, then swipes her hand across the row, sending all the cans crashing to the floor. She sinks back to her knees and puts her face in her hands. Interior, Matewan Mine, same. Jack sits with his back against the wall. Using his lunchbox as a table, he scribbles on a piece of paper. He writes, Bill Blizzard, then crosses it out. He leans his head against the wall. Interior, company store, later. Charlie collects the fallen cans. Off screen, the bell rings. Footsteps approach her.
You look good on your knees.
Charlie stands and faces him.
News?
He's in surgery. Supposed to be a complex one, so it might take a while. I'll update you again when I hear more. It'll most likely be later tonight.
Charlie nods. Cameron brings a finger to her chin and raises her face to look at him.
Cheer up. You have something later to look forward to.
Cameron holds her face for a moment, then goes to the front of the store.
Will?
Will comes in from the back.
Good afternoon, Mr. Hamilton. What can I do for you?
Here.
He hands Will a piece of paper.
Effectively, immediately.
Cameron heads to the door. Will reads the paper.
Raise prices. Wait, Mr. Hamilton.
The bell rings as the door closes behind Cameron.
He's raising prices again?
I don't want you worrying about all this.
Will regards the cans on the floor.
I'll clean up. You go on home.
I should stay in case there's an update.
I'll find you if there is, okay?
Hamilton will probably find me himself.
She hands him her apron.
Thanks, Will.
Now go. Get out of my goddamn store.
Exterior, Make Wine Restaurant. Later. Lively and Cameron stand by the back door in the alley behind the restaurant. Lively holds a stack of posters.
Put them everywhere.
I'll get right on it.
Make sure word spreads. I want all miners to know.
Cameron walks away. Lively looks down at the posters. On the poster, 10 cents a ton wage increase for all Stone Mountain Coal Company employees, effective May 18th, 1920, only for working miners. All miners caught striking or unionized will be terminated and evicted. Back to scene. Lively whistles at Richard passing the alley. He comes over.
Put these all over town and spread the word, will you?
Richard eyes the posters and spits.
I got to get back to the mine. I don't have time to put up your arts and crafts. I got a fucking job, mister.
Lively produces a pack of cigarettes from his pocket and waves them. Richard considers, then grabs the pack and the posters.
I can take a long lunch.
Exterior, Roadhouse Sane. Charlie stands in Sid's makeshift shooting range. Her stagecoach shotgun snug against her shoulder, aimed at a row of cans. She closes her eyes. Series of shots, Charlie's memories. We see Doc Marotti pulls the sheet back to reveal Walter's bloody, crushed legs. The three detectives close in on her. Cameron leans towards her, pulling off his tie. End series. Charlie's eyes snap open. She fires and blows a can off the haystack. She cocks the gun, aims again, and destroys another can. She reloads and takes out 2 more cans. She continues down the line of cans, never missing a shot. After the final can, she drops her shotgun and pulls her pistol off her hip. She pivots and fires at a group of empty beer bottles and moonshine jugs on a nearby barrel. She hits all but one. She takes a step closer, aims at the last target, and pulls the trigger. The empty pistol clicks. She pulls the trigger over and over again, each time getting nothing but an empty click. She then screams in frustration. She exhales and closes her eyes.
Well, shit fire.
Charlie wheels, her pistols raised. Sid, a cigarette hanging from his smiling lips, leans against the roadhouse. Charlie relaxes but doesn't bring down the gun.
How are you going to shoot me when you're out of ammo?
I could throw it at you.
She holsters her gun. Sid whistles as he inspects the destroyed cans. He brings up the twisted shards of one.
You owe me some new targets.
I'll get you some from the store.
Sid regards the last bottle standing and pulls a shotgun shell from his pocket.
Then quit.
He throws it at Charlie. She catches it, yanks up her shotgun, cracks open the barrels, reloads, cocks, aims, and fires. The bottle explodes.
Keep on like this, and I'm in jeopardy of losing my title.
Charlie smiles.
Do you always carry shotgun shells on you?
At all times.
You use revolvers.
Oh, you never know. Helped you out. Imagine if this was a real fight.
Charlie thinks about that.
You quit.
Sid throws something else at her. She catches it. She opens her hand, revealing a cigarette. She takes a scene on a barrel and pops it in. Sid strikes a match and lights it for her, then sits down beside her. They smoke in silence.
Ray didn't have to send you to check on me. I'm fine.
She didn't. I came out here to grab a few guns I've stashed inside.
That bad, huh?
I could use a break, though.
He draws on his smoke.
You're gearing up for a strike.
Charlie nods.
Everyone in town is on edge today, worked up and pissed about your pa.
I'd rather not talk about it.
Sid nods. He goes inside the building and comes back with new beer bottles. He sets them on the hay and takes position. He slings his revolver behind his back and catches it over his shoulder.
Let's shoot then.
He throws her some more shotgun shells, then pulls his second revolver. Charlie takes position beside him and cocks her gun. They each start on a different end of the line and work their way to the middle, bottles exploding as they move. Sid turns away from the targets and spins his pistols. Charlie watches as he takes out 2 bottles behind his back.
How'd you do that?
Practice.
I don't think I could do that with a shotgun.
Not without taking your arm out of your socket. Try your pistol.
Charlie pulls her pistol and turns away from the bottles.
How do I know where to shoot?
Instincts. It's all about what your gut tells you.
Charlie exhales, fires behind her, and misses.
You'll get it. Just keep practicing.
Charlie spins and fires normally, taking out a bottle.
Couldn't help it.
Sid smiles and takes a seat again.
Oh, it took me months during the war to harness that feeling.
Charlie sits next to him.
How'd you do it?
We fought it not a lot. You didn't know what the hell you were shooting at or who. But after a while, you start to feel if there's an enemy nearby. Whether it's the middle of the day or not, in front or behind you, you feel it.
Charlie takes a long drag of her cigarette. Sid throws her more shells. She catches them without looking at him. Sid raises his eyebrows and smiles.
Again?
Interior, make one mind, same. Jack shovels coal into a cart. He and a few other men stop working when off-screen a small commotion moves closer to them. Off-screen footsteps come down the mine. Richard marches down.
10 cents a ton wage increase for all miners. Straight from Hamilton himself. Beginning tomorrow.
Richard continues down the mine, repeating the message. A few of the men cheer. Interior, company store later. Will works at the front counter. Cameron enters and searches the store.
Back so soon?
I have an update from Miss Kelly. Is she in the back?
No, she ain't here.
Is that so? She's supposed to be working all day.
I sent her home. She's tore up over Walter's accident.
Quite unfortunate. He decided to ignore safety protocol and work alone.
Will glares at him.
What's the update? I'll pass it along to Charlotte.
I'll find her.
Cameron turns to leave.
I know what you're doing, you know.
Cameron slowly turns back to Will.
And what is that?
You come in here all the time when you're in town, doing what Jenny usually does. I wonder what that is. It's not to see me.
Cameron shrugs.
Leave her alone. She ain't interested in you.
You have no idea what she's interested in. But I know what you're interested in, William.
What do you mean?
Oh, but you do. I know how you spend your evenings.
Will's eyes widen.
What would the town think of you and your friend if word got out? Who knows what the town full of hillbillies would do to you both?
Will stares back in shock.
You don't want them to find out, do you?
Will quietly shakes his head no.
Leave Charlotte's business to me.
He exits. Exterior, Blizzard house, later. Ray makes her way through wet clothes on the line beside her house. Slightly hidden, she drops a bag of canned food on the ground next to a stack of tents. Off screen, a car pulls to a stop. Ray glances through a crack between clothes and spies Cameron exiting his car. She quickly throws a sheet over the items at her feet and takes down laundry. Cameron stops in front of her on the other side of the line. He smiles.
Mrs. Blizzard, lovely as always.
Mr. Hamilton, to what do I owe the pleasure?
I apologize for interrupting your womanly duties. I understand that Walter Kelly is a good friend of yours.
Yes, he is. Is he?
No news for now. I'm looking for Charlotte. I was told you may know where her whereabouts are.
Don't.
She isn't here then.
Nope. I don't know where she is. That girl loves to disappear.
You and your husband stay quite involved in the town.
I run the home demonstration club. The ladies keep me in the loop on daily gossip and such.
Ray snickers and turns back to the laundry. Cameron eyes their house.
Lovely home you have.
Thank you.
It's such a shame.
Ray's face falls.
Excuse me?
If you see Charlotte, tell her I'm looking for her.
Ray watches Cameron walk back to his car. Exterior, company store, same. Jack peers through the store window and sees Will at the counter. Jack turns to leave when he notices a group of angry miners and townspeople gathered around a poster beside the store. Jack squeezes to the front of the group and reads it. Price increase on all items, effective immediately. Exterior, Matewan Jail, continuous. Bill exits the station and notices Jack in the crowd.
Illinois!
Exterior, company store, continuous. Jack pushes out of the crowd and meets Bill in the street. Exterior, Main Street, continuous. Jack nods to the poster on the wall.
Did you see that?
Is it about the pay raise? I heard.
It's about to raise, all right. A raise in company store prices.
Fucking figures. He's toying with us. This is one big game to Hamilton.
Pops in a cigarette.
I'm done being one of his pawns.
Where were you today?
A meeting. It's time we play the game right back. Make sure you're ready for anything, and a strike is coming.
When?
If Hamilton keeps doing this shit any day now.
Jack nods.
Assume you're coming to the service?
I'm planning on it. You haven't seen Charlie today, have you?
I haven't. Can't imagine how she's feeling right now. I'm sure she's hurting pretty bad.
Exterior, hillside later. Charlie, her shotgun and dingbat beside her, watches the sun set behind the mountains. Exterior, Matewan Missionary Baptist Church, same. Reverend Wilburn stands outside the doors, welcoming church members. Bill, Ray, William C., Margie, and Ma approach him.
The Blizzards, my favorite family.
Wilburn extends a hand to them all.
Almost everyone in town has shown up for the service.
Charlie?
Wilburn shakes his head no. Exterior, hillside, continuous. Charlie continues watching the sunset. Jack, wearing his three-piece suit, comes up the hill and sits next to her.
I'm not going.
You don't have to.
They sit in silence for a moment.
He's not dead. I don't understand why everyone in this fucking town keeps acting like he's gone. He lost his legs, not his soul.
People are just worried about him. And worried about you too.
We'll be fine. I've taken care of him my entire life. Nothing will change. I don't need anyone's pity.
You're the strongest person I know. You can get through anything.
He looks at her.
You said earlier that you don't need me, and I get that. I know you don't. But I need you. You've changed everything for me. I didn't know what it felt like to be loved and to have a family. I do. I'm always going to be here for you. I'm not going anywhere. I'll do everything I can. Which I know isn't that much. I just want to brace you for every storm that comes this way together. I'll do anything for you, Charlie.
Anything?
Anything.
Leave me alone. Please.
Jack silently stands and takes one last glance at the sunset, then at Charlie.
I love you.
He walks down the hill. Charlie watches him leave. A tear rolls down her cheek. Interior, Matewan Missionary Baptist Church, continuous. Reverend Wilburn stands at the podium in front of the chapel. Bill, Ray, Ma, William C., and Margie sit in a pew toward the front of the congregation. Bill notices Doc Marotti in the row next to them.
Good evening. Thank you all for coming.
As Wilburn speaks, Jesse leans into Testament and whispers in his ear. He glances around and shrugs at her.
Now, as most of you know, Walter Kelly, a beloved member of our congregation, is in grave condition at the hospital in Charleston. Last we heard, he was undergoing surgery.
Doc Marotti lowers his head.
We're all waiting for an update. Unfortunately, from what we've heard, Walter will lose both of his legs and is having to fight hard for his life.
Jack enters and slides into the back row.
In times like these, it's hard to find the light. It's difficult to persevere through all of the grief, doubt, and uncertainty.
Exterior, hillside continuous. Charlie lays on her back, looking up at the sky.
It's easy to let pain consume you to the point where you believe that there's no hope.
Interior, Matewan Missionary Baptist Church, continuous.
Pain can feel insurmountable, leaving you empty and numb.
Stefano holds a toddler on his lap, his wife next to him. A tear falls down his face. Behind them, Big Ben runs an arm around Alma's shoulders and rests a hand on Ben Jr.
But if you choose to be resilient, pain can leave you stronger than ever before.
Exterior, hillside, continuous. Charlie looks up to the sky and closes her eyes.
The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and save those who are crushed in spirit. Psalm 34:18.
Exterior, Matewan Missionary Baptist Church, later. As the night darkens, the congregation lights individual candles outside the church.
As we wait and hope, praying for Walt, praying that we hear good news, let's remember to persevere through the pain and remember that the Lord is always with us, even in the darkest of times.
Exterior, hillside, continuous. A faint noise grabs Charlie's attention. She sits up and listens. She notices a soft glow in the distance outside the church and hears soft singing. Exterior, Matewan Missionary Baptist Church, continuous. The members hold their candles in rows. Ray leads the group in song. Bill spots Doc Marotti slip out of the crowd and sneak away. Exterior, hillside, continuous. Charlie listens to the congregation sing for her father. Exterior, Matewan, later. Bill and Ray stroll hand in hand down the dim and quiet Main Street. William C. and Margie totter along on either side of Ma, holding on to her. Off screen, loud cheers and whistles pierce the quiet night. Ray cuts her eyes at Bill. He drops her hand and goes to investigate. Exterior, Matewan Hotel, continuous. Bill rounds the corner and halts. The hotel buzzes with commotion. Sid drinks and laughs outside the hotel door. A group of miners mingle with a group of entertainers. Ray turns the corner and stops beside Bill. She steps back and stops Ma and the kids.
Hey, let's take the long way home.
I'm old, honey. My poor legs can't make it that long. Are you wanting to plan my funeral?
Ma peeks around the corner. Her eyes go wide.
On second thought, a long walk and some fresh air might do you young ones some good.
She does a turnaround finger twirl at William C. and Margie. They start to complain but comply.
I'm going to need to wash my eyeballs when we get back.
Ma and the kids walk away. Ray rejoins Bill.
I'll warn the other parents. Think he'll shut it down if you ask?
I can try, but you know Sid.
Ray nods, then kisses him.
See you at home.
I've got to stop to make on my way back. Don't wait up.
Ray nods and walks away. Bill joins Sid.
You have to know this is the worst idea you ever had, right?
Sid laughs and lights a cigarette.
Even worse than the horse turned out to be men?
Everyone's worried about Walter. This is not the time to bring in prostitutes, Sid.
Oh, that's where you're wrong, Billy. I think now is precisely the right time to bring in the ladies. Have you seen the men in town? They're depressed and on edge. They need to let loose Have fun. They need this.
Joe turns the corner and stops dead in his tracks. He gawks at a short entertainer, 30s, leaning against the hotel wall beside the front door. Their eyes meet. She opens her legs slightly and brushes her dress up, revealing a flash of thigh. Joe's mouth falls open.
Joseph Adams.
Joe turns away right as Betsy turns the corner. She sees the woman and starts hitting Joe over the head over and over.
I was only looking. I wasn't going to go over there. I swear, honey. No.
Gross. Disgusting women. Gross, gross, gross.
She continues screaming and hitting him as they leave.
Joe really needed this. Poor bastard.
Yeah, Fred Mack in town. This shouldn't be what they think of minors in Matewan.
You think so?
Where are they anyway?
Inside.
Bill raises his eyebrows and shakes his head.
You need to shut it down, Sid.
Let the men blow off some steam. It's not like I'm holding a gun to their head.
The short entertainer leans over to Sid.
What was that about blowing?
Not now, honey.
She turns back around.
You're not partaking?
Minors and union officials only.
I'll be damned. Sid Hatfield has become a one-woman man.
Well, when you find a woman that'll put up with your shit and fuck you out in a water tower, you do anything to be with her.
Bill slaps him on his shoulder.
Happy for you.
Bill looks around.
Make sure all the guests get back to where they came from. We don't want any stragglers left in town. Betsy will eat them alive. How did they get into Matewan exactly?
Well, the back road isn't only good for sneaking in unionizers.
Bill walks away.
You're not Chief of Police Hatfield.
Sid smiles and watches him go. The short entertainer scoots closer to Sid. He takes a step away from her. Exterior, Matewan, same. Jesse and Testerman walk together down Main Street. Betsy stands in a small cluster of frantic women.
Excuse me, ladies. Is something wrong?
You're fucking right. There's something wrong.
The cluster of women nod in agreement.
Sid is hosting another prostitution party at the hotel.
Jesse stands quiet, shocked.
Are you sure it's a prostitution?
Yes. The little floozies, I can spot one from a mile away. They'll disease the town cable.
Jesse turns and heads straight for the hotel. Testerman watches her go, then turns back to Betsy.
I'll take care of it. You should just all go home.
Oh, I'm not going anywhere until they're all gone.
Exterior, Matewan Hotel, continuous. Sid goes back and forth between taking drinks and drags of his cigarette. The short entertainer watches his every move. Jesse rounds the corner and bears down on him.
What the hell is this?
Sid smiles.
Throwing the men a little party.
Jesse stops right in front of him.
I can't believe you.
What?
I mean, my God. I thought even you were above fucking horse, Sid.
Sid stares, dumbfounded.
Here I thought you could change. I didn't convince myself you're a good man. Wow, was I wrong? You disgust me. This, us, we're done.
Fine.
Jesse runs away. Sid stands in shock for a second, then turns his attention to the short entertainer. She smiles.
Want to blow off some steam, honey?
She tilts her head and steps a leg out, spreading her legs a little bit more. Sid tips back the rest of his drink and nods to the door. She follows him inside. Exterior, Matewan neighborhood, same. Bill moseys down the middle of the street, passing rows of houses. He searches for the right one. Exterior, railroad tracks, same. Jesse sits on the tracks, crying. Testerman walks down toward her.
There you are. I've been looking everywhere for you.
Jesse looks up at him, her tears glistening in the moonlight.
What happened?
We ended it.
She starts crying again. Testerman sinks down next to her and holds her.
I'm so sorry, Jess.
I thought he was different. I wanted him to be different.
He's a loose cannon. I don't know if that'll ever change.
I'm so stupid.
No, you're not.
No, I really am. I'm a fool, Cable.
Stop it. You're the most Stop it. You're the most intelligent person I know.
Cable, I'm pregnant.
Exterior, Doc Marotti's office, same. Bill approaches the front door of the house and knocks. He waits for a moment in silence. He turns the lever when the light comes on inside and the door slowly creaks open. Doc Marotti peers through the door and sighs at the sight of Bill. Mrs. Marotti, 30s, appears behind him in pajamas.
Go back to sleep. I'll be there soon.
All over my bed.
Doc Marotti joins.
I am
Take a second. Doc Marotti joins Bill on the porch and closes the door behind him.
Sleep, Bill. Is everything okay?
Everything but Walter.
Doc Marotti glances at the ground.
Why haven't we heard an update, Doc?
I'm not sure. You should really take this up with Hamilton.
You dropped him off last night, right?
Doc Marotti slowly nods a yes.
How was he when you did? Did he seem okay? I mean, in your opinion, do you think he'll make it? I promise I can take it.
Doc collects his thoughts.
I honestly can't say. I'm not his doctor.
He looks Bill in the eyes.
It's not good, Bill.
Bill nods.
I hope he pulls through.
Doc heads back inside.
I'm sorry, Bill. I truly am sorry.
Bill watches him as he closes the door. Exterior, railroad tracks, continuous. Testerman stares at Jesse in shock.
Is it,
Of course it says. What do you think I am?
Testerman takes it in, then smiles.
We're going to have a baby.
Jesse nods.
I wanted Sid to be a part of his life. I thought he could be a father.
His?
I imagine a boy.
What about me?
You want part of this?
Part of this? I want the whole damn thing. You're my wife, aren't you?
Jesse laughs. Testerman hugs her.
I'll always take care of you, Jess. I love you.
I love you too.
We're going to be parents.
We're going to be parents.
Oh, does Sid know?
Jesse shakes her head no.
I was going to tell him until...
He needs to know.
Will you talk to him in the morning?
Of course. I'll talk some sense into him.
Sometimes I think you're the only one that I can.
They sit in silence for a moment.
What do you think of Cable Jr.?
Exterior, Kelly house later. Charlie and Dingbat head up the porch steps. She notices a glow in the window. She opens the door and enters. Interior, Kelly house, continuous. Dingbat growls. Cameron sits beside a lit candle. He smiles as she closes the door behind her.
Don't worry. We'll make it quick.
Cameron gets up and stops in front of her.
Update?
They'll let me know something they'll let me know something first thing in the morning. Be at my office just before sunrise. Don't be late. I have a busy day.
Charlie nods. Cameron walks into her bedroom, leaving the door open. She takes a deep breath, then follows him in, shutting the door behind her. Fade out.
Just before sunrise, huh?
Okay, I
Who
did
else
not
is gonna
like
be
reading
late?
the action lines on that was a tough one to have to read all the action lines on. So there you go. So that starts the second half of the season.
Good job.
So we have the low points and high points for our two protagonists. Low points for Charlie, high points for Bill. And then we'll just,
Poor Charlie.
yeah, I know.
Oh, shitty.
I mean, I was livid when I was reading it earlier. And then you start the episode with it and then end with it too. So you're just disgusted at the beginning and the end.
Well, remember, this is a streaming service show, so the whole thing you want to do is hook people at the end of each episode because you want to make them keep watching. You want to, I mean, you like I said, the Netflix guy just said it perfectly that day when he said, what we want is that guy at 2:00 in the morning knowing I got to fucking work tomorrow morning, but I got to see what happens next.
Yeah.
I mean, keep going.
Yeah, because all I want is for Charlie to shoot Cameron's balls off or something.
Cut his dick off. I was dying at the section, Joy, where you were reading Betsy and hitting Joe over the head.
Yeah, I know.
Dead.
Now, Mark, at the beginning, before we started reading, you were saying, hey, this all happened.
Yes.
So that all happened?
Yes.
Like with Cameron and Charlie?
Things that yes. Now we've fictionalized it and we've made up characters, but these are all things that these coal companies in this area did to people. And so, like we explained in the previous episode, the typical process was when a man got hurt, they would give his wife Esau script. And that was
Charlie and Cameron, they're not real people, but the events that take place are things that did happen.
It did happen.
Yeah.
It
gets worse.
Yes.
I read it and I was like,
yeah. That's what we want.
I also was like, on the play, right?
Yeah, I mean that's this guy, Cameron. Cameron feels that he owns these people. He owns everything and he has a right to do anything he wants. And also too, and we talked about this at length writing it, everything is transactional for Cameron. There's a price for everything. So he uses Charlie's love for her father to get what he wants.
He just manipulates everyone. He's a fucking asshole.
He's relentlessly evil.
Relentlessly evil. Yeah.
I have a feeling he may end up with one of Charlie's bullets in his head.
Well, you'll have to keep reading. That's why we gave you other characters, because again, we felt really awful about killing
Ed.
I
felt so bad when I sent the script to Ed. I was like, because obviously up until now I've been like, hey, read for Walter and if like any extra characters. And this was the email I sent. I was like, hey, will you read for Fred and Will? No Walter.
And that was actually a case that the miners used. Now they wound up getting some of the concessions they wanted in 1932 when FDR passed the Fair Labor Act. And this was one of the specific cases they used. A miner had been hurt in an accident and he had a broken rib or broken ribs that the doctors missed, and it wound up puncturing his heart and killing him. And so that was one of the things they used to do away with the practice of the companies employing the doctors. I mean, it's like, okay, this does not work when the doctors work for the companies. So that was something else.
Yeah, the Doc Marotti stuff was kind of fucking me up too. It's like, he's not evil, but like he's got this weight on him where Cameron has no consciousness, so there's no like guilt. But the doctor has to do this evil thing, but he's actually a good guy. Ugh.
Yeah, Doc is screwed like everyone else. I mean, he's owned by the company, and I mean, then that's unfortunately for Charlie the case. I mean, she is owned by the company, but and this it's interesting. I don't know if you guys, and I don't want to sit here and dominate the conversation. It reminds me a lot of the story of Spartacus. I don't know if you guys know that story about the Spartacus slave revolt. Now, in that case, they all wound up getting killed, which didn't happen here eventually, for these guys. But it's amazing the inhumanity that people can inflict on each other. I mean, again, it's the old maximum power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Yeah, and it just seems that like Cameron's just completely desensitized to it as well. I mean, because it's just become such like business to him.
Yeah.
I mean, he doesn't even consider like what he's doing is so terrible.
No.
Because it's just a normal day of his life.
Right.
I will say I really like their intercutting of the scenes during the sermon when the Reverend is speaking. Love that a lot. Are you pointing to Whitney?
I'm pointing at Whitney. That was Miss Resides.
It's a good like contemplation moment where you see also how kind of like what a sermon is tying into maybe what like Charlie's feeling and but I really love that. I've seen that in shows before, but it gives the viewer a moment to kind of like put things into perspective when you kind of do those like intercuts, whatever. But really like that.
Well, and one thing that we did do, and I'm sorry, Whitney, I'm being a guy here. I'm talking all the time. Jump in if you want to, but we do a lot of like repeating motifs and repeating, and this is playing on. If you go back and look, what we did is intercut the union ceremony, Cameron raping Charlie, Walter dying, and that's at the beginning of the episode, and then we come back and intercut the service with Charlie. And I don't know if you guys could tell, but I was actually crying reading that really got me, because that's, I mean, you kind of get close to these characters spending all this time with them. That was really painful I mean, she's sitting there on the hill, and she at this point is the only one that knows everything she's been through and what the preacher is saying, which again, that was Whitney who wrote all that. I mean, speaking to Charlie directly, even though she can't hear it.
And her and that happening to her so soon after her father is like, I want to get you out of here, you know. And I mean, the moment that like he kind of makes that known, he dies. And then she's left alone, you know, kind of, and then she becomes a sex slave to Cameron, to the coal mining company. I did have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Why does Cameron want to say that it was a heart attack? Is there a specific reason for that?
Just he doesn't want to admit that Doc Marotti missed that. He doesn't want the accident. He doesn't want the death to be because of the accident.
Okay.
He doesn't want it to be in any correlation to the mine itself.
Right.
Okay. Even though the injury occurred in the mine and his body was crushed by.
Yes.
Yeah, they want to write down heart attack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But to give you an example,
Gotcha.
And I'm going to get on my soapbox again for a minute, to give you an example of the way people are and how evil some people are. What you were saying here is the same thing. The defense for Derek Chauvin is arguing that George Floyd died because he couldn't breathe, that he had some underlying breathing
That it was
problem.
the drugs. His drugs.
That it was the drugs.
It wasn't.
Not a knee on his
It
throat.
wasn't a fucking knee on his throat for 9 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's I see that now.
Yeah,
it's a good parallel.
Yeah, so I mean, it's the same thing. Yeah, that's one thing. I mean, yeah, well, I can sit here and preach all night, but it's like this is, you know, I mean, we see this sort of behavior every day from, well,
yeah,
our previous president and members of his party, and you know, I mean, and unfortunately, I will tell you, wait till 106.
No,
it gets worse.
No, please, no.
I will say, as dark as some of those moments are, I do like how you guys weaved in the comedy with the whole prostitute scene too, because it does lighten it up a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep saying it again. That was Whitney. This was Whitney's episode.
It's fun. It's really funny.
It really is funny, and Joy is just.
It's like an ongoing joke between Mark and I. It's like when people read these, or if it ever gets made and people watch it, I feel like everyone's just gonna be like, "What's wrong with Mark and Whitney?"
and then they'll hear the story about me being hit with a brick, and they'll go, "Oh, okay, traumatic brain injury. There you go, there you go." And Whitney had a bike accident when she was 12 and wasn't wearing a helmet, so it's like traumatic brain injury from both of them. So
knock something loose, I guess.
yeah, and that's a really, I mean, well, bragging on you for a second, partner. That's a really great writing technique to do when you get really dark. Drop in a little bit of humor just as a pressure relief valve. I mean, audiences can only take so much. You know, you gotta. And I mean, this gets pretty bad. And just like I said, and wait till the next episode. Laura's read it. So
yeah, I was gonna say somebody should tell the writers of Mr. Robot that, because I swear to God, every freaking episode is so much anxiety the entire time.
Yeah, that's a good point. Now they do. What season are you in?
Oh, I finished it already.
Oh, you finished it? Okay. They did interject some kind of like offbeat humor with the Bobby Cannavale character. the hitman. Remember
Oh,
him?
yeah. Oh God, yeah, he's so good.
He's really good. But they kind of tried to get in a little humor there. But yeah, there were times, as much as I liked Mr. Robot, there were times that I thought they really missed. You know, I mean, it was like, okay, this show is really, 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 really on, or really, really, really off.
Can I ask everyone something? Now that we're like halfway through Redneck Army, sorry to cut you off, Mark. Is there anything, if I don't say this, so it's gonna like leave my brain, I'm never gonna remember it. Is there anything that you guys like want to see from characters, or you think that you've seen too much of characters? Like, is there any notes that stuck out to you in the past 5 episodes where you're like, oh, I would like to see more of this character or less of this character?
I feel like there was a point where I think I was feeling this last episode where I was like, I want to see more Sid, but I also think that Sid's influence on the characters is like surprisingly significant, because he's kind of like comedic and very like, you know, confident. But maybe it's just because of the scene with Charlie. But that was, yeah, I guess that may be what triggered it this episode. But that really was really nice to see that relationship. And I guess the Sid and his wife relationship too is really nice. But I don't know. I felt that way about the Sid character.
Okay, that's a good point, because now that we're moving into the preparations for war, Sid does take a more prominent role, because that's his kind of role. I mean, he's the muscle, more or less. And yeah, and that was, and again, that was Whitney, the Sid scene. That's what we shot for with that scene with Charlie, to show Sid's kind of mentoring.
It was so sweet in such a unique way, because it wasn't like mother-daughter or like love interests or like, or father-daughter, I mean, with Walter and stuff. It was like a totally just like, it really showed the closeness of the town. You know what I mean? Where everybody kind of like knows everybody's shit a little bit.
Yeah.
And is there for them. And I really like that.
Cool. I'm going to see if there's like maybe more Sid moments in the past episodes where we could maybe squeeze them in more. The thing with Sid is that, like you mentioned, he's such a bold character, and he has such an influence. His storyline really is amped up in season 2. That's our plan. But yeah, Sid's my favorite. He's the best.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting because I don't know that it comes through in the on the page, but he's a big character physically. He's tall and skinny, but he actually has like a gold grill. And I mean, his nickname was Smiling Sid because he smiles a lot. And I mean, he's going around with the 2 pistols on his hip, and he's just real flamboyant. And so,
did I miss that Testerman and Jesse are husband and wife?
Yeah.
Did I miss that?
Yes.
And like, because him and Will have a relationship, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
How
did I fucking miss that?
Because remember, they're introduced. When you meet them in episode 1, they're coming out of the restaurant, and Bill points them out as the mayor and his wife. And then at the beginning of episode 2 starts in their bedroom.
Actually, I don't.
I mean, the thing about it is, Ed, I think it's just a function of us reading these one a week over the course of, at this point, almost 2 months. I mean, you probably knew it at the time, but you know, we haven't had a reading in 2 weeks, and you've gone on about your life. You haven't been obsessing about Testerman and Jesse like Whitney and I have.
Oh, you're so nice, Mark. You said I have a life. Thank you.
So the mayor's okay with Jesse sleeping with Sid?
Apparently.
Yes.
They're having
because I also missed that, and I think it would have maybe been clearer if I like saw the show and like saw the characters.
Well, remember Jack it is subtle, but Jack also has a line at the very end of 101 where they're sitting on a hill, and he's like, "Isn't that?" And she's like, "Yep." And he's like, "But isn't she married to the mayor?" And she's like, "Oh,
that's
yeah."
right. I do remember.
Whenever Sid has her, yeah.
Yeah, it says So it's not exactly like Sid is a one-woman man. And then in episode 103, that's when which Sid refers to in this episode, that's when they get busy on the water tower.
Mm-hmm. It's not until, sorry if I.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, Laura.
Sorry, I just I guess I did it.
Yeah, we don't actually get the full reveal of the Will Testament relationship until, is it 107, Whitney?
It's I think it is 107. Yeah, I think there's one scene at the end of 107, and then obviously it's clear in 108.
Yeah.
But there's like a few little hints here and there in the past couple episodes, and like.
Ooh, now why did you say obviously it's clear in 108?
Oh, sorry. You'll find out.
I'll get there soon. Yeah, it was one of those interesting things that, I mean, in real life, we did. In real life, Testerman was significantly older than Jesse and was kind of overweight and some other things. And Testerman, when he gets killed in the shootout, Sid wound up marrying her 2 weeks later. So, and which we're going to continue. We're going to keep that part from real life. So there were questions about what the actual relationship was, and so we just kind of brainstormed that, and that's what we came up with. It's like, okay.
Well, because it was said in the past that Sid and Testerman were like friends. They were really good buddies. But then afterwards, whenever Sid ends up marrying Jesse 2 weeks later, everyone came out in the papers. They were like, oh, did Sid actually kill Testerman? What happened? You know, basically accusing Sid of murder. And yeah.
Yeah, the company tried or the company claimed that Sid shot Testerman.
Yeah.
But they could never prove it. Yeah. Yeah. And if you'll remember, that's why Sid is actually the chief of police of Matewan, because he and Testerman are good friends.
And Mayor appointed him, yeah.
And as we see in this episode and some other episodes, Sid, thank you, Joy.
Hi, Joy.
I got to run too, you guys. A pleasure as per usual. I'll see you next time. Have a good night.
Bye.
I think I'm gonna run too. I'm still beat.
Bye, Laura.
So sleepy.
Later, guys.
Night, y'all.
Yeah, get some rest. See you, Kyle.
Bye.
You're a great Sid, by the way, Kyle.
I appreciate it.
Awesome, right?
Yeah,
I'm gonna head out as well. Good night, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Hey, Jack.
Okay.
No one said anything about my character dying. I think I'm gonna need to talk to the writers about that.
Well, that actually happened in real life, so
I don't give a shit. Contract, man.
We can always change it. You know, we'll come up with somebody else for you.
Stefano lives.
Yeah,
you know what? I was actually gonna ask you guys if you have a problem if I do a spin-off with Stefano moving to another town and opening like this little Italian restaurant. You know,
actually, we're planning on Stefano kind of stepping up in season 2.
It's me, Stefano.
It's Stefano. Oh, his lush black hair and very nice mustache.
Yeah, I'm gonna need to work. I don't know if I can grow a mustache like that. I'm gonna have to.
Yeah, because that's one thing we're planning on getting into a little more in season 2. The company really did try to play on racial tensions to keep the miners apart, and you had whites, Italians, and African Americans in Matewan.
I mean, that's pretty. We focus on that a little bit in 103 and 102.
Yeah, we've got it in the and actually in 108, it becomes really significant in 108.
Yeah, and I guess that will spiral into
into season 2. So yeah,
we just got to get a production company to option this bad boy.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, we've got it out in contests and other incubators and blah 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 blah. So I mean, we'll keep pushing it and see if we can get somebody to do this. And yeah, I mean, like we always say, I mean, it's really helpful doing these table reads. I mean, really invaluable.
Yeah, I had a few notes that I jotted down.
Yeah, I caught several. It's always interesting. I catch a few little typos and things that, I mean, we've read through this thing who knows how many times at this point, but for some reason it doesn't pop up until the table read. So
yeah, my notes are mostly like line notes, like things that could be better. But there's not much, but there's a few things.
Well, boss lady will make any changes you want.
There was like for Cameron's speech to Jack, I was like, you know what? He says every minor. I was like, he should say every goddamn minor. I remember
goddamn minor.
I was like, I want that.
Throw in some more cussing.
That's my notes. It's just like I'll do a fuck here, fuck there.
and then what? You're just going to tell your mom that I wrote that? Yeah, Mark wrote all the cussing.
Oh, my plan is for anything that my parents question, if this were to get made, I'm just going to be like, oh, the production company threw that in. Really? All the cursing? Yeah, that was the production company. That's not me.
You know actors.
You know actors, Ma. Oh, the sex scenes? That's not us. That's the production.
And I liked your voice for the hospital employee, Sam.
Yes.
Oh. I feel like I come up with like a new voice every week.
Yeah, I know.
Love it.
Yeah, it really means a lot that you guys take it seriously and do that sort of thing. It's like I said, it's really great.
It's fun.
And, so, well,
yeah, always open to any notes. If you guys ever read an episode and you have any insight, notes, suggestions, you can email us because
yeah, absolutely,
it's always nice to get an outside perspective.
Yeah, if you think of anything later, just feel free to hit one of us up and let us know, because we really appreciate it. And you guys are all smart, creative people.
Yep.
And this is the moment in the episode where it fades to black and then opens up with Mark and Whitney on a computer going, delete. Fuck their ideas. What the fuck do they
Fuck those guys. That's bullshit. That Marco is so full of fucking shit.
Bye, guys.
See you guys later.
Bye, y'all.
All right. Bye. All right, Mark.
Marco
and I are gonna go over our Frozen scene.
Yes.
Okay.
Hey, wait, do you mind if I take a minute just to get my dog out?
All right.
Yeah, I need to set up my sled.
Okay, then I'm going to.
So fucking cute.
Lead? What the hell?
Okay, if I leave, will it automatically make one of you guys host?
As long as you don't put end meeting.
Okay, so just do leave meeting.
Oh, yes,
okay.
Just leave. And Whitney, if not, I'll send you a link.
Bye, y'all. Oh, okay. Who wants to be the host?
Whitney.
Me.